Hi, I'm Anthony Poponi, and we're going to talk about the Community Foundation today with Erica Rasmussen. She'll introduce herself in just a moment, but we're going to focus our conversation around COVID-19 and what the Community Foundation has been doing with the recovery process. But before we do that, Erica, who are you?
I'm Erica. I'm the new Communications and Development Director at the Community Foundation, and I'm thrilled to be here for good with the Community Foundation.
Hey, she's using the Here for Good slogan, folks. Pay attention to her. She's a sharp one. So we wanted to talk a little bit about the COVID-19's impact on the community and then kind of what the Community Foundation was doing in response to that and is still doing in response to that. So tell us a little more.
Yes, so COVID-19 quickly impacted our community in March. The first case was announced on March 11th, and within days, businesses and schools were forced to shut down, and Gunnison County really emerged as a hotspot pretty quickly. And we are a very rural community with limited resources, which made it scary amid a pandemic, which is something that you don't face every day.
Yeah, I would like to not face one every day. 2020 has been an interesting year so far.
Yes.
So, you talked a little bit about this being a hotspot and source, of course, just the uncertainty around like what was happening and what was going to happen. And, we're still experiencing that a little bit, though the path forward is becoming a little more clear. But what did the Community Foundation do specifically to help meet some of the financial needs of our nonprofits?
Totally. Thanks to the generosity of over 200 individuals, we were able to raise over 285 grand to already grant nearly $250,000 to help immediate basic needs. And so when the pandemic first hit, we were faced with very emergent issues, PPE for first responders,
Right.
immediate food security, like when is food coming tomorrow, to now being able to address much more longer term initiatives to be more self-sustaining for the long term amid a pandemic we're likely going to have to operate with for a while. So we've addressed food insecurity, rental assistance, senior care, mental health, education, the full gamut of community needs through our COVID recovery fund.
Good. So it started as it's really impressive. I mean, $285,000 so far, and we're not even done. And we'll talk more about where it's going from here. But initially, just making sure people had food and could afford to pay their rent. The sort of like emergency survival stuff that happens when everything shut down.
Yes.
And so now trying to be, and I love this word because we talk about what the Community Foundation does with other people, and they mention this word, nimble and diverse and strategic. And so now being strategic and kind of planning for the next phase, and we're calling that what? Recovery, I guess.
Yes, further recovery for the community, and actually bring up a really good point, because as we strive to be nimble leaders of the Community Foundation really encouraged collaboration in our most recent grant funding round for the COVID-19 Recovery Fund. And with that, we funded our biggest grant ever of 75 grand toward the Emergency Food Network here in the Gunnison County community, which enabled everything from meals through winter for youth to seniors, to helping assist with a freezer for bigger storage, for ensuring that food donations can last longer, and more of those longer term, less immediate needs, which is really important.
Well said, and I think that's one of the other terms that I love hearing about the foundation. Again, it's strategic. That through being there, the foundation can say, "Listen, we want you all of you nonprofits working on the periphery of one issue to kind of get together and really start talking about what could be done." And then on top of it, not only getting those conversations going, but granting $75,000, the largest gift ever individually to a group. So that's fantastic to see that happening. So as we all know, COVID-19 has had a significant impact on communities worldwide, and the Gunnison Valley was not exempt from that. So the Community Foundation worked quickly to create a COVID-19 recovery fund to address the immediate needs of food, health, and safety resulting from the coronavirus pandemic and subsequent economic fallout. You can call it a meltdown in our community, as many communities have seen. And today we're going to talk to Katie Dix. She's one of the beneficiaries of that program. She's the executive director for the Gunnison Country Food Pantry, and she joins us to talk a little bit about being a grant recipient from that program and maybe a little bit more. So tell us a little bit more about yourself there.
I've been with the pantry for about 6 years,
Okay.
and enjoyed very much watching it grow from serving several hundred families to now this year we have served over 1,100 families.
And that's indicative of what we were talking about, the
Exactly
just
right.
increasing need. Now, you're part of the Gunnison Country Food Pantry, but you're also part of something called the Emergency Food Network.
Yes.
What's that?
This is an outshoot of work that the Basic Needs Committee was doing,
Okay.
which was a subcommittee of the One Valley Prosperity Project.
Okay.
And when this all started rolling, we understood the need and wanted to work together, not just with our individual groups. So we formed an informal emergency food network, and it is about 6 organizations who that is a food insecurity is a piece of their big pie, and a number of smaller groups, businesses, restaurants who wanted to keep their employees in, doing something productive and offered soup supper. Community Foundation is the ace in our pockets. The first week of the pandemic, 1/3 of the food pantries in southern Colorado closed. They didn't know what to do. They'd lost a lot of their older volunteers who needed to isolate,
Right.
and that was part of their problem. But the other part was, how big is this going to get? How can we serve people and keep them separate? We felt like we were willing to take a leap of faith. We knew that we had the Community Foundation and many other friends who were going to step up as soon as they got their act together too. And we said no. We never missed a day. We never missed an hour of saying, come to us and we'll give you what you need. We went so far as to say, instead of giving you food assistance once a month, you may come to this pantry every week and get what your family needs.
So you talked about not only the number of people went up dramatically in who you served, but then also you went from monthly to weekly on those shares that went out as well.
Yes.
So how did that COVID-19 Recovery Fund at the Community Foundation help with what you were doing?
Well, it made that possible, didn't it?